I've been learning Japanese for over 3 years, and during that journey, I've pretty much made every single mistake you can imagine, and in this video, I show you the lessons that I've learned from all of it. This isn't a tutorial or a study guide, it's kind of a look back at 3 years of trial and error and surprisingly quite emotional moments studying Japanese. はい、こんにちは、tomekkuです。まあ数年間かかったんやな。でもほんまに嬉しいやん。なんかこの旅はいろんな大変なこともあったし、結構いろいろなおもろい瞬間もあったんやけどさ、最初から聞いてくださいね。So it was near the end of 2021. I remember joining a Discord call where my friends were sitting and screen sharing something, so I joined the channel. I joined the live stream and I see they're watching some kind of anime. I was pretty much against anime at that time. I wasn't really a fan of it, never really watched it, but I just sat here and gave it a chance. Joined my friends, enjoying a fun moment. And as I watched it how Joseph Joestar is doing all sorts of crazy shit, I realized that I kind of like the sound of the language that they're speaking. So that was the day that my interest in Japanese kind of grew from non-existent to something that I maybe want to study in the future. So fast forward a couple months, I've been gaining more and more interest in the Japanese language, learning more about it, watching some YouTube videos, trying a Duolingo course or something like that. I told my parents I want to study it. I didn't know a different way at the time, so I asked them if they could pay for my online classes in Japanese. So after some time of looking online for a great online Japanese school, I joined one. And I had about 90 minutes of classes every single Friday. I didn't do much study outside of it, but I really enjoyed the classes and I was looking forward to it. Looking back at it now, it was a complete waste of time. But it taught me something, you know. It made learning Japanese something that I look forward to every single week. And now every single day, instead of seeing it as a chore. So every single week I would wait for my Friday lesson, and I even skipped two, not one but two, midterm parties at my school where everybody from my class, from my school year was having so much fun. I kind of sacrificed my social life for the sake of learning Japanese. So that was the first lesson I learned on my journey of studying Japanese. It was that I needed to become a part of my life, and I wanted to be a part of my life forever. I never want to give up learning it. I want to finish the bridge, finish what I've started. So fast forward a couple months, I realized the classes aren't that effective, surprise surprise. I was pretty much the most ambitious one in the group, in the classes. I was doing a lot of outside work and interest in studying Japanese. I was watching YouTube videos, and so I enrolled in one of the online courses of a YouTuber called Yuta. And that course was kind of like short Japanese videos with subtitles and everything translated. It was pretty much my first ever encounter with immersion learning or comprehensible input. And of course, after being introduced to comprehensible input, I finally made some progress. It was around that time when I made my first ever video speaking Japanese. I thought I was hot shit at that time, but thinking about it now, I sounded worse than like a toddler. ちょっと日本語で話したい。日本語にはまだ慣れていませんけど。And I knew maybe not even like 1,000 most common words, so it was pretty bad. The level of Japanese I got to after 2 years of studying should pretty much be achievable to anybody who uses the right methods in like 2 or 3 months, I would say. Nevertheless, the course helped me at the time that I used it because I just didn't know any better, and it was some sort of comprehensible input. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I found out subconsciously that immersion learning is the only way to learn a language, and that's the method I use to this day. By the way, if you relate to my story, if you're in a similar position to where I was just 1 year ago, if you want to get some help, if you want me to kind of hold your hand and walk you through every step, every single detail there is to learning Japanese through immersion, that's exactly what I do in my language That's exactly what I do in my Japanese learning community, that's the first link in the description. Around the time that I made that first video speaking Japanese, which I uploaded on Instagram and TikTok, I went all in on YouTube. I finally started fulfilling my dream of being a YouTuber, and I was even making videos about learning Japanese. I made this video, which is actually the most popular video on my channel right now. So around this time I remember that YouTube and learning Japanese were two things that were mostly on my mind. I kind of tried to combine them, but I couldn't find a way to make it work at the time. My level in Japanese wasn't good enough to make many videos about how to learn Japanese, but making YouTube videos about other topics like self-improvement wasn't effective either. So I remember going on a walk late at night, it was dark outside, I just finished watching some anime. I took my journal with me and I sat in like this field, used my phone flashlight and just journaled in Japanese about Japanese. And you know, I was so frustrated because I couldn't even write the stuff that I wanted to write. I couldn't even express myself in Japanese. I couldn't express myself at all in the language that I was studying for 2 years. I kind of had a mental breakdown in that field, but I realized I needed a breakthrough, I needed something. So it was around April 2024, just a year from now. I remember sitting on a coaching call with a YouTuber named Hamza. I was discussing with him whether I should go all in on Japanese or focus on business. So I remember that he asked me if 2 years from now I would rather be making $10,000 every single month but have okay Japanese, or have amazing Japanese but only be making like 2 or 3k a month. To him it was kind of a branded question. He treated language learning more as a hobby and he really was all in on business. But for me it made me think, you know. I realized I would never want to sacrifice my level in Japanese. I would never want it to not be as great as possible anymore. I realized it is the most important goal in my life. To Hamza and everyone else on this call it was pretty weird, but to me I knew that I'm making the right decision like deep down in my heart. So after that call my routine changed. I was still making YouTube videos but I focused way more on studying Japanese. I was doing flashcards, I was listening to easy podcasts, stuff like that. Because I realized before, oh, like immersion, I should listen to Japanese more. And after just a couple weeks of studying like that every single day, I went to this Japanese restaurant and it was amazing, you know. It was the first time ever where I actually spoke to like the Japanese people. I was actually in like a long conversation talking about different topics and stuff like that. It kind of unlocked that Japanese and motivated me even more to study more because I realized just how awesome actually speaking Japanese is. So after that event I went even harder on my immersion. I was listening to a little bit harder content and my Japanese was getting better and better, and I was also speaking to more Japanese people, online classes and stuff like that. I realized that I was finally making some noticeable progress and I thought it's my mission to save others from making the mistakes that made me waste 2 years of studying Japanese. So I decided I want to teach the stuff that I've learned recently. So I repurposed my content on YouTube to be only about Japanese, only about unlocking your ability to speak, to learning through immersion, to doing all sorts of these things, to actually be able to output, to have fun and make some great progress. I decided that I want to combine business and Japanese, and I made this little program which was called Base Japanese School, and basically was kind of like language coaching where I would watch somebody through the exact process I did to learn Japanese. I was giving them methods, designing like a proper plan, a daily routine of how to study. I made courses and stuff like that. I made some progress in this business. I got a couple people to make better progress in Japanese, got a couple clients, but I realized that my Japanese is still not at the level that I want it to be. I had a lot of stuff to be able to teach, but I didn't want to spend so much time on the business side. I wanted to go all in on Japanese and maybe go back to business later. So as the school year started, I eased down on the YouTube videos and stuff like that. I was learning Japanese as much as possible. I was immersing straight after waking up, every single moment that I could at the gym, breaks at school, late into the evening, and whenever I wasn't immersing, I was watching videos about how to learn Japanese better. So after hours and hours of that, watching all the content that I could find on how to learn Japanese effectively through immersion, I would find better content to watch. I went away from the ineffective beginners content. I was watching real life Japanese people who spoke pretty fast, who spoke different dialects, and I implemented a lot of like productivity hacks and tactics to immerse for longer and better. If you're interested, I teach all of it in my program, so you can copy exactly what I do, first in the description, blah 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 blah. Around the time when I really went really hard on learning Japanese, my trip to Japan was confirmed, February 2025, so I went even harder on Japanese. I went all in, I went even harder. I started watching IRL content, street interviews and stuff like that. I was even learning Kansai Ben, which is the dialect spoken in Osaka. I started dialect matching, I'm telling you. I was picking up on all the differences, like yan instead of jan, on seyana instead of sodane. I started picking up on the aizuchi, and I used all of it in the Japanese classes, like IRL speaking classes and classes on italki. And after about 3 months of this intensive immersion, I finally went to Japan. I remember the first ever interaction in Japanese I had was at the Lawson at the airport in Narita. I just went in there, bought onigiri, bought a bowl of Japanese tea, and I felt like everything led up to that moment. In Japan I went all in. I was cold approaching people, talking to people on the street, making friends, flirting with girls, doing all sorts of this stuff, all in Japanese, and it was getting better and better. I even got interviewed on my first ever day in Shibuya. One of the most fun memories from Japan that I have was straight after I came by a train to Osaka. I was finally ready to use the dialect. I went to Dotonbori Ebisubashi, this spot where there is this guy running with a little sign. And I saw a couple guys doing this thing called Nagurareya, where basically you could pay them some money and then you could punch them with like a boxing glove as hard as you want. So just came to Osaka, and this fucking guys and these guys I joined these guys, I talked to them in my Kansai Ben, which was surprising. They weren't even from Kansai. They didn't speak English at all, so I was kind of a salesperson getting them customers to their little business because they were making money for their hitchhiking trip. After that, we hang around for like an hour just walking around, making fun, eating takoyaki, speaking Japanese, which was really a highlight of that trip. The next day in Osaka, randomly on the street, I met this guy that you maybe know from TikTok or Instagram Reels. His name is Kyle, and I spoke with him about learning Japanese, interviewing people, making YouTube videos in Japanese, and just content in Japanese or about learning Japanese. And he kind of inspired me. He told me he's waiting for my content in Japanese because I'm already speaking pretty nice, I'm speaking Kansai Ben and everything. And I wanted to make so much content on that trip to Japan, but I failed. I did speak a lot, I did make a lot of friends, but I kind of wasn't confident enough to just pull out my phone or like record videos. I wasn't in that YouTuber mood, so I thought that it's such a waste. I remember walking through Shinjuku literally crying because it was the last day in Japan for me, and I realized that I haven't really fulfilled that goal that I had going into this trip, that I wanted to make so many videos, I wanted to make so much content, so many memories, and I didn't end up achieving a lot of these things. So towards the end of the trip I was really sad, but it also motivated me. It motivated me to study Japanese even more, to get even better at YouTube, to make even better videos, to level up my social skills and confidence, so that the next time I come to Japan, I can make all these videos, I can make amazing memories, I can talk to even more people. So after I came back from Japan, I didn't go easy on the learning just because the event that I anticipated was over. I went even harder because I was waiting for the next time I come to Japan in the future. I started making even more YouTube videos. I was uploading regularly for a good couple weeks before the exam season as school happened. I realized I want to go even harder on learning Japanese. I would immerse even more than ever before, watching even harder content. And right now I'm studying more than ever before, and my Japanese is getting better and better every single day. So right now we've kind of came to the present moment. I'm about to have my final exams at school. I still have about a month free to study and prepare myself, and I will use this time not only to study for these exams but also to level up my Japanese and make more YouTube videos. I plan to study Japanese for like 10 hours every single day, maybe go and try and make the N1 exam in July, and use a couple hours of the weekend to make YouTube videos and work on the business. So remember how I told you about the decision that I made on a coaching call last year? It's a year later, my Japanese is pretty damn good, and I still have a lot of free time to get it to that fluency and to make some money. So if you want to follow my journey, you can subscribe to this channel. Don't leave the first link in the description if you want to learn more. Thank you for watching and see ya.